So our brain is made up of, billions of these remarkable cells called neurons. And there are also, billions of these equally remarkable cells called glial cells. But we're going to focus in this class mostly on the neurons because there are specialized, what are called afferent neurons that we're going to be exploring in some depth, throughout this term that allow for the transduction of different types of energy or stimuli in the environment into the response of the neuron. So it can carry information. They're very wire-like like this, right? And that transduction event is going to be involve typically an electrical change in the neuron. Because neurons are remarkable. They carry information, but they carry information in the form of electric current. And electric current is the movement of charged particles. And, in the copper wires in your wall, for example, there are moving electrons, and actually we have, typically AC current. So the electrons, they change the positive and negative end, and so it goes back, forth, back, forth, back, forth, and that, the electrons are moving back and forth in that copper wire, and that's electric current. But in our, biological wires, right, like these neurons, right, which are remarkable, look at this, the structure of this thing, they could be up to, 5 feet long, depending on how tall you are, right? The neuron uses ions, which are charged, particles that we derive, typically from dietary sources. So sodium, Na+, is an important contributor to the electrical properties of neurons. And so is potassium, which is K+. And so neurons use, charged particles called ions to actually carry electrical messages. And we're going to talk a lot about how neurons are kind of set up. They're expending a lot of energy to sort of maintain the conditions such that should they encounter, a stimulus that needs to be reported on, that you need to actually send a message about, well, then they're going to be, the forces are all going to be aligned to drive, current, the movement of charged particles, down the length of the axon, and, communicate it to the next cell.